to call this meeting to order, the Sacramento Transportation Authority, at 1:33 p.m. Madam Clerk, if you could please call the roll to establish a quorum.
Good afternoon. Member Guerra,
Here.
Hume,
Here.
Daniels,
Here.
Maple,
Here.
Rodriguez,
Here.
Cerna, here. Spees,
Present.
Talamantes,
Here.
Valenzuela,
Here.
and Vang.
Here.
And you have a quorum.
Thank you. If everyone could please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Two. Okay. All right. If the clerk could please read the announcements and instructions for public comment and on how to view the meeting.
This meeting of the Sacramento Transportation Authority is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast Consolidated Communications and AT&T U-verse cable systems. The meeting is closed captioned and live streamed at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting replays Sunday, October 15th at 2 p.m. on Channel 14. This meeting can also be viewed at youtube.com/MetroCable14. To make an in-person public comment, please complete a speaker request form and hand it to the clerk. The chairperson will call your name when it is your turn to make a comment. To make a public comment by phone, dial 916-875-2500 and follow the prompts to be placed in queue for a specific agenda or off-agenda item. Clerk staff will transfer each caller into the meeting. You may be on hold for an extended period of time, and your patience is appreciated. You may also send written comments by email to boardclerk@saccounty.gov. Your comment will be routed to the board and filed in the record. And that concludes the clerk's announcements.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk, our first item on the agenda, please.
It is comments from the public regarding matters not on the agenda.
Are there any comments, any members of the public signed up to speak on that matters not on the agenda, Madam Clerk?
I do not have any requests.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next item. Madam Clerk, on the next item on the agenda.
For your consideration is the Executive Director's report.
All right, Mr. Busey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chair. Okay. I'll give you a little Executive Director's report. We're going to talk about SB 125, which is one-time transit funding. So in July of 2023, the governor signed Senate Bill 125, providing $5.1 billion in new formulaic funding to the state's regional transportation planning agencies. This funding is for high-priority transit capital projects, and there's some zero-emission transit capital projects that can be funded by it as well. So according to basically a population-based formula, SACOG will receive $201 million for high-priority transit capital projects. SACOG is the regional transportation planning agency for Sacramento, Sutter, Yolo, and Yuba counties. It's important to know that Sacramento County makes up about 80% of that four-county population. So if SACOG utilized a similar population-based formula, that would mean $160 million in transit funding for Sacramento County. I want to point out SAC-RT has already identified 8 projects with a capital need of $210 million through 2026, so they could easily use up all those funds. But please note that SACOG has just begun the effort of working with eligible agencies to determine how these funds are distributed. In addition, SACOG will receive another $37 million for zero-emission projects. So I want to put that into a little bit of context. So we provide to SAC-RT about a little over $60 million a year for transit. And so adding additional $160 million for transit, especially on the capital side right now, where those funds could be used to match federal and state grants, would be a significant investment in transit. Going on to some, any questions on that? Sorry. Okay. I'll keep going. No questions on that. All right. So tax-related statewide ballot measures. I want to highlight a couple of these that are kind of related to some of our efforts in the past. So there's the Assembly Constitutional Amendment 1, which is ACA 1. It'll be on the November 2024 ballot. So if approved by the voters, it would lower the threshold for local sales tax and bond measures for affordable housing infrastructure from 2/3 to 55%. So school district bonds currently only need that 55% approval rating, so it'll drop it down to that much. And then ACA 1 also contains significant transparency and accountability measures. So based on my review of this, it looks like this would lower the threshold that we currently have at two-thirds to two-thirds threshold for an STA-led effort down to 55%. Obviously, we'd need to look into this more if that was something we were interested in doing. The other statewide ballot measure that's also going to be on the ballot in November is Assembly Constitution Amendment number 13, ACA 13. So it'll be on the November 2024 ballot. So if that one's approved by the voters, it will require further ballot initiatives that seek to increase the voter thresholds to pass by that same voter threshold amount. So my example would be if for some reason there was a statewide proposition to increase the threshold for a special tax to 75%, it could only pass with a 75% approval or greater. So those are kind of interesting. We'll see what happens out of the November 24 election. And then a little public relations update. So we were planning on integrating an intern into STA staff, probably not actually as STA staff, but as a contract staff, to help us out on some of our digital communication. I think it will help us with our objectives to enhance our online presence, engage with our target audience, and effectively manage our digital communications. They'll hopefully provide a fresh perspective, innovation to our existing strategies. So in addition, SDA has created a fact sheet that can be utilized to explain SDA's role in the region. It's been posted on our website, and I've included it in the board packet. And with that, that is my executive director's report. Open to any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Busey. Any questions from the authority here? If not, Madam Clerk, do we have any members of the public signed up to speak on this item?
We do not have any members signed up to speak.
Great, thank you very much. Madam Clerk, we'll move on to, again, our next items on the agenda.
For your consent matters, you're considering items 3 through 7.
Very good. Madam Clerk, do we have any members of the public signed up to speak on consent items?
You do not.
Thank you very much. Let me bring this back to the board. Madam, any members of the board have questions, comments, or in action?
If none, I'll move 3 through 7 on the consent item.
Thank you. It's been moved properly by Board Member Rodriguez, seconded by Board Member Talamantes. With that, Madam Clerk, if you could request the vote. All those, please vote. And if the clerk could please tally the votes.
Members Talamantes and Bang. Thank you.
You know what?
Okay. And the motion carries by unanimous vote with those members present. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That measure passes. Madam Clerk, we'll move on to our next item on the agenda.
Item number 8 is the receive information and authorize the executive director to terminate the Zone 8 contract of the Sacramento Freeway Service Patrol. Good afternoon. Let me hang on. Good afternoon. There we go. There we go.
Good afternoon, board directors. I'm Jennifer Dahl, and I'm the Special Programs Manager. Specifically, Freeway Service Patrol is what I'm going to be speaking about. Oh, there's no PowerPoint again.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Freeway Service Patrol operates in 8 zones in Sacramento and Yolo County, counties on all major freeways. FSP contractors patrol freeways during the high commute times to assist stranded motorists with minor incidents. Minor incidents are responsible for more than half of non-recurrent freeway congestion. The program is funded by the state highway account and the local Capitol Valley Regional Service Authority for Freeways and Expressways, also known as CVR SAFE, which is the program is administered by Sacramento Area Council of Governments. In April, we released a request for bids for Zone 2, which is Interstate 80 at the Interstate 5 split up to Placer County line. The proposed rates for the RFP were $325 to $330 per hour, which was beyond our estimated maximum bid of $260 per hour. In May, the board rejected all bids on grounds that all proposed rates were over the estimated total hourly rate and extended the existing contract for 1 year. This has allowed staff to evaluate ways of restructuring the FSP program so that it's sustainable for the long term with more reasonable total hourly rates. At the onset of the FSP program review, staff knew the following constraints. The program's annual funding averages $3 million, which is comprised of state funding, which is historically static. SB1 funds were the first increase in nearly 15 years, and local funds that have helped grow the program but are currently maximized. Based on the proposed bids from the Zone 2 request for bids, new rates are estimated to increase 60% from current rates. Next, a detailed program evaluation began. Staff has collectively been working with program partners, CHP, Caltrans, and UC Berkeley consultants and current contractors to identify the following. 1, what can be changed to current freeway coverage? And 2, options to lower future bid rates. Since FSP is a traffic mitigation program that collects assist data for annual reporting, we can use this data to look at benefit versus cost for each zone or portions of zones. Zone 8 is on the Interstate 5 between Sacramento County line and Route 113 in Woodland. It is patrolled by 1 flatbed tow truck and 1 service truck. This is the newest coverage area for the program and has not been as beneficial as predicted. The average benefit cost for the zone is less than 1, while the program average is 5. The current contractor also agrees that Zone 8 isn't cost effective for them because of the low number of assists. The trucks patrol for longer times, which significantly uses more fuel. Stakeholders agree it is best to discontinue service in Zone 8. Staff recommends discontinuing the service in November of this year. Discontinuing service on Zone 8 would result in $255,000 savings for the remainder of the fiscal year and an estimated $387,000 for the next fiscal year and onward, based on the recent bid rates. For fiscal year 24-25, this reduction would reduce program costs by approximately 10 to 12%. While this reduction does not entirely mitigate increases, it does diminish the overall severity of the impact, providing STA the necessary time to continue working towards a resolution. Staff recommends authorizing the executive director to terminate Zone 8 contract. That concludes my presentation, and I'm open for questions.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, do we have any members signed up on item 8?
We do not.
Very good. Let me bring this back to the board. Any comments or questions from the board? Yes, Director Hume.
Thank you, Chair. A couple of questions. First of all, obviously this is last in. Is it a last in, first out situation, or is this based truly off of that benefit ratio that was highlighted?
It's a mixture. So we first started with the benefit cost ratio, and then it's also one of the highest costing per hourly rates of our current contracts.
And I assume there's a correlation there that because you're using those resources for very few people that actually need it, then that raises the, okay. And then my second question is obviously I've known 2 people who've benefited from the FSP. Is there a possibility that either from Zone 6 or Zone 5, that those assets could just be on an on-call basis, that if somebody were to report something, they could maybe pull off of an existing patrolled zone to go out and still service the area?
We could do that. That is an option that we could look at. We have various scenarios that we are planning on bringing back to the board in November to have a final overall program review. We do think we have some good options to mainly take out service trucks and keep flatbed trucks, because those can do everything, whereas a service truck cannot tow off the freeway. And we believe that if we do that and maybe extend current contracts another year at the lower rates, that will solve our issue going forward. So
Okay.
we would be downsizing a little bit on coverage, but we would still have coverage on all freeways, and it would be the best coverage because it would be for flatbed service truck or flatbed tow trucks.
Great. All right. Well, I recognize the importance of the service, and I look forward to hearing those efficiency options. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Director Hume. Mr. Busey.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that this is kind of This is the first and easiest revision that we're making to the Freeway Service Patrol. We plan to come back and making more changes, but like Jennifer said, we're planning to keep the other zones, but maybe instead of 3 trucks patrolling, we may only have 2 trucks patrolling, that kind of thing, to get costs where we think they need to really be to be sustainable over the long run.
Very good. And now, let me, any other questions from the board? If not, I'll ask an action here. You need authorization, is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, I'll take an action from the board to move the staff report.
So moved.
It's been properly moved by Director Hume. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Has been properly seconded by Director Rodriguez. Any further comments? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, can you please call the vote? Please vote. All those desire to vote. Madam Clerk, please tally the vote.
Supervisor Hume?
Aye. Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And the motion carries by unanimous vote with those members
All
present.
right.
Thank you.
Measure passes.
Instant karma.
Next item, Madam Clerk.
The next item is the comments of authority members.
Any members of the board have any comments? AB 123 reports? Oh, yes, yes. Director Daniels.
Thank you. I just want to say that it's an incredible opportunity to be here and watch the master at the chair again. And we miss you on the air board in the seat. And it's nice to see how you work.
Well, thank you, Director Daniels. Appreciate that. Flattery gets you everywhere.
Absolutely.
That's right. Okay, with that, Madam Clerk, we are adjourned at 1:51 p.m. Thank you, everyone, who made it out today.